I'm not the co-founder of GrowNYC, but I am the director of Grow to Learn NYC, which is part of GrowNYC. About a year ago, I decided that I wanted to help create some positive change right here in New York City. So I was given an opportunity to join GrowNYC and lead this citywide school gardens initiative. So the initiative is called Grow to Learn, and our vision is a garden for every public and charter school in the city. So it's 1,700 schools reaching 1.1 million students, and at GrowNYC, our official Grow to Learn staff, there's three of us. So 1,700 schools, 3 staffers, but luckily we're part of a really thriving community of city agencies and nonprofit organizations and community gardeners and schools that are working together to help school gardens grow and meet our vision of a garden for every public and charter school in the city. So I'm sure, or I think most of you have probably heard some sort of buzz about school gardens recently. Even the First Lady is helping to promote school gardens across the nation through her Let's Move campaign, and there are lots of really inspiring examples of school garden programs from coast to coast. But I don't know if people know that New York City has a really rich history of school gardening. So this is a 100-year-old picture. It's from 1912. It's a rooftop school garden, and school gardening is hip again. People are starting to recognize the benefits that come when kids get a chance to dig into soil and plant a seed and directly connect to nature and the earth and their food. And it's a unique opportunity in New York. We're in this urban oasis, and kids don't really have that many opportunities to really connect directly to the earth. So it helps really promote environmental stewardship among students, school gardening does. And it's also unique to get a chance to plant and grow and harvest and help prepare food. And when kids are part of that process, from planting and growing and preparing, they often are much more likely to eat the food. And that's really important here in New York City. 40% of our youngest neighbors suffer from being overweight or obese. It's 40%, so it's higher than the national average. And it's a real problem. And the city has a task force on obesity prevention, and they recognize school gardening as an effective strategy to really help change this staggering statistic. School gardens also help kids get active. So you're out there moving soil or planting seeds, you're doing work in the garden. And they also provide these really rich experiential learning environments for kids to practice real-world math and science and language arts, but in the garden setting. And GrowNYC is a nonprofit, but the city is really behind the School Gardens initiative. The Mayor's Fund to Advance New York City helped start Grow to Learn 2 years ago with GrowNYC. And the vision was that if a New York City teacher was like, I'd like to start a garden, or I'd like to expand my garden, how can we give them access to this big community of city agencies and nonprofits that were working together to try to help gardens grow? So if you're a teacher and you reach out to Grow to Learn, you get tapped into this huge community. And the city agencies include the Parks Department, so they have one full-time staffer that's just focused on school gardens with the Green Thumb Division. And teachers can go to trainings and workshops to learn skills, and then also sign up to get soil delivered or compost delivered or lumber delivered to help start their garden. And the Department of Ed is really a huge supporter of the School Garden Initiative too. So they're supported in a lot of different ways, but the Office of School Food has a full-time garden to cafe coordinator that helps make sure the produce that's grown in the garden gets used in the cafeteria and kids get to try to taste the garden produce. So there's lots and lots of nonprofits in the city that are all working together, and I think each one brings their own special expertise to school gardening, and we hook teachers up with the resources that are offered by all these different organizations. But I also think that school gardening has been cool in that it's helped unite a lot of the greening and gardening organizations in the city to work together to help really create this vision of a garden for every public school. And school gardens are great at building communities right in the school. So you have the custodians working together with the principals and the teachers and the students and the parents to get a garden growing. It really takes a lot of people to have a successful garden. Parents have really been a big driving force behind a lot of the school gardens in the city. This is PS 107 in Brooklyn. One parent, this woman, Michelle Israel, her kid was in kindergarten when the school decided to start a garden. And she wasn't a gardener, but she put her community organizing skills to the test and really rallied other parents and teachers and the principal, even neighbors, nonprofit organizations. And it was a freezing cold day like today. She got everybody out there to build PS 107's Sunshine Garden. It's been a really wonderful addition to the school and also served as a model for other community members and other schools in the community. And Michelle's reach has extended way beyond PS 107. This parent decided that to start a Google group. So she started a Google group that's like New York City, there's Michelle, New York City School and Youth Garden Google group. And she has like 473 members, and it's a really active, practical group so that if you're a school gardener, and you have extra kale plants, for instance, you can post that on the group, and then somebody else who needs kale plants will come to your garden and pick them up and use them in their garden. So it's this virtual community of people trying to work on school gardening. But from that virtual community, Michelle has identified experts to help do workshops and trainings to help address issues that were raised as part of the group as priorities for the school gardeners. And some schools need a little extra help to get the gardens growing, have a harder time rallying communities, and a lot of the organizations in the city are focused on communities that need gardens the most. So this is at Future Leaders Institute in Harlem. They were having a hard time rallying people to join in for Build Day, so we actually just gathered some friends, spent a Saturday working on the garden, and it was really a fun experience, and community members kept walking by. And they were thanking us, or they would tell us what was growing in their little backyard, and even like a jogger came by jogging on her Saturday morning and then just jogged right into the garden and decided to help us for a few hours. And the teacher told me, this is like 2 days after our build day, they already had planted some of the plants. Kids were using the garden as an outdoor learning area. And the teacher was telling me that it was really, one child she noticed, he had some serious sensory issues and had a hard time joining clubs or sports, and even like couldn't really participate in full classes. She got him in the garden, and he like thrived out in the garden. And first day of planting the flowers, then he went home, and she said she got a call from the mom and was like, he needs to be in that gardening program. And she said, we don't have a gardening program, it's the science classes that use the garden, but she made sure that this child had an opportunity to go every day to the garden. And he really got a chance to belong to the community and contribute to his school community, whereas before he was really isolated. And I have some breaking news from school gardens too, for anyone who has survived middle school. Mean girls, like the middle school mean girls, they're actually nice in the garden. And I don't know if it was at this garden, I'm not gonna say if it was at this garden, the Future Leaders Institute, or another garden, across the city. I'm like years out of middle school, but I still don't want to get on the wrong side of the mean girl pack. But a teacher called me and was like, I have this class of girls that are nasty to teachers and their peers on a pretty regular basis, and I had to bring them out into the garden. It was time to plant. So she brought them out to the garden, and she called one of the mean girls up and said to the raised bed, asked her, you want to plant the first radish seed? She said she got this like intense look of despise from the girl as she approached the raised bed. But then she started getting growing and planting, and she got really into it. And all the mean girls got really into it. She said that they were like going around being like telling all the other students, you got to plant the seeds 2 to 3 inches apart. One girl couldn't believe that they were actually going to eat the radish root, pull it out of the soil, and eat the radish in a little bit of time. And they were getting on the back of the line to grab more seeds to plant. And the teacher was like thinking to herself, she was astonished. She's like, these girls don't even know they're being nice right now. And she called me and she was like, gardening, through gardening, these girls, it tricked the stink attitude out of these mean girls. And, gardening really does help break down these barriers. So people have different barriers. You could be a middle school girl, insecure, so you have these big walls up. Or you could have language barriers or differences between age and race, and gardening really helps people work together across these barriers. And the benefits extend beyond the schools too. Like in communities like Bushwick, there's this group called EcoStation that's working at a high school campus. It's called Bushwick Campus. There are actually 4 high schools that are in this big campus, and they wanted to start a farm. So they started the Bushwick Campus Farm by empowering community members, the school, the students, to build the beds and schlep the soil and get growing. And this is the raised beds with their spring greens. The kids decided they wanted to build a greenhouse. They figured out how to build a greenhouse. They have aquaponics in there. They actually did a bunch of seed starts and decided to do a big spring plant sale where they offered plants that they had started in their greenhouse to the whole community. And Maggie Cheney, who runs the program at EcoStation's Bushwick Campus Farm, she does a lot of other community engagement. So she has nutrition classes and cooking classes, and she actually started a summer employment program for the students. And she has said she had over 100 applicants for 10 slots. And as part of this summer employment program, she brought together some other groups like El Puente and Make the Road to do some food justice leadership training for the students. And the kids were super empowered. Bushwick Campus Farm has 5 farm stands during the week that brings local fresh produce to the communities that don't usually have access to this fresh local produce. And the kids that are part of her summer employment program went out into the community and did a lot of education with seniors and other community members to let them know about the farm stands, and also that they could use food benefits like EBT or WIC or SNAP to buy produce from the Bushwick Campus farm stand. So the school gardens have benefits way beyond the actual school community too. These are some pictures of their farm stands at Bushwick Campus Farms. So Grow to Learn is 2 years old, more or less, and we have 245 school gardens that are registered with us out of the 1,700. And I've been really inspired this last year working as part of this community to see how all the city agencies and the community organizations and the nonprofits and the teachers and the parents can work together to really help create this positive change for students, help them change the way that they think about food and their connections to the environment. And together, we're all really helping to lead to healthier kids and stronger communities and a healthier planet. So I encourage you guys to check out your local school garden and get involved in the school garden community. Or if school gardens aren't your thing, you have something else you want to help contribute to in your community, I think you should seek out the other individuals and government agencies and nonprofits that are working on similar issues or could be rallied to help join your cause, and then join forces so that you can make some real change, positive change together. So thank you.